Thank
you very much, Max Henkel, giving the command for the Futaba Freedom 100 in the field. Now roars to life here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Current weather conditions, it is 72 degrees. That's the air temperature. The clouds, of course, beginning to move in, and there is some concern over possible weather moving in the area. Remember, this is a 40-lap, 100-mile event, so we've got to get 20-plus laps in for this to be complete. The wind speed only 2 miles per hour, negligible out of the west, northwest. So a big concern here, weather moving into the area, and that may change some strategy here early on to see what some of these drivers are going to do. Speaking of drivers, take a look at our Futaba Freedom 100 starting grid. It is all Sam Smith front row. Is Jaime Camara, first ever time on the pole, and beside him, the pole sitter and winner at Homestead Miami Speedway, Travis Gregg.
Yeah, in the second row in the third position, Cole Carter, a first-time starter here in the Pro Series, driving for the American Revolution Racing. And alongside him, in the fourth spot, Jay Drake, who's going to be doing double duty, running the Hoosier 100 tonight, running for Vision Racing.
Back in row 3, the New Zealander Wade Cunningham, who's finished 4th, 3rd, and 2nd his first 3 events of the year. And Marty Roth, who will also be doing double duty. He'll run the Indy 500 coming up on Sunday.
And then starting in the 7th position, that's Al Unser, just Al, making his first appearance at the famed Brickyard, driving for Brian Stewart Racing. Alongside him, in the 8th starting pot, Nick Bussell, driving for JL West Motorsports.
How about 9th and 10th? John Herb, who won at Phoenix in the Aircon Delara. And there's the 18-year-old Marco Andretti making his first ever oval track start here in Menards Infiniti Pro competition.
Yeah, the 6th row in the 11th spot, that's the experienced Jeff Simmons driving for Ken Hartley Racing. And alongside of him, a rookie, Herman Quiroga from Mexico City.
How about Tom Wood coming back after that horrific crash at Kentucky back in '03? And beside him, the only female in the field, Michelle Abbott in the Himmelgarn Johnson Motorsports machine.
And then in the 15th starting spot, Taylor Fletcher from San Clemente driving for Bullet Team Motorsports. Alongside him in the 16th spot is Emran Hussein from India originally, now from LA.
And as you look at the remainder of our starting grid back in row 9, Chris Festa, the Florida State University freshman who is a former Ray Hall Letterman teammate of Danica Patrick, and beside him, second-generation driver Rocky Moran Jr. And on the warm-up lap, we had the number 77 of Cole Carter spun around. Hadn't hit anything. He's trying to get that car refired. That's the American Revolution Racing machine. If we can see what happened a moment ago. As they try to get him. There's the American Revolution Racing efforts. A 22-year-old Cole Carter, the son of 1985 Indy 500 pole sitter Pancho Carter.
Yeah, and when we saw Vince interviewing him, I mean, he's been very calm the last couple days. Here's a replay of it. Let's just see what happens. The cars are weaving back. That's just a function of weaving back and forth, trying to get temperature into the tires. And, you know, the front tires probably had a little bit more temperature in them and just bit a little bit more, and the rear came around. But again, he didn't do any damage to that car, so he should be able to get back up into his starting spot. Okay.
And we're being told that he will actually, because of spinning around and losing his original spot, will be forced to start at the back of the field. So that is the case here. As we check our onboard cameras, the Vonage onboard camera here for Marco Andretti, starting in 10th position after that dominating performance in his debut at St. Petersburg on through the streets of St. Pete. Looking at the back of his camera, he starts on the outside of row 5 in 10th spot, and Travis Gregg on the front row. He is our points leader, and of course had the 2 poles to begin the year and one at Homestead Miami Speedway, the Lucas Oil Products Sam Smith Motorsports machine. Well, let's check in the Travis Gregg pits quickly with Cameron Steele.
Well, I was talking to Travis Gregg before they got into the cars, and Travis said he thought his teammate might be a little gun-shy with the lack of experience at the ovals here going into that first corner, and he is going to go for the attack right away.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that, Cameron. We'll take a look at our race analysis here. We told you it is a 40-lap, 100-mile event on a 2.5-mile oval here at Indianapolis. They have no pit stops in this series. All the chassis are identical Delara. All the engines are identical Infiniti Q45 V8s. running about 450 horsepower, and everybody riding on Firestone Firehawks here in this series. It is the official development, the stepping stone series, the ladder series they call it, to develop the future IndyCar stars of tomorrow.
Yeah, and part of that formula is all these cars are the same. We just heard what they all are. Dellaros, Infiniti Motors, Firestone tires. This is a series for the driver's ability to come through. That's what you want to be. And, you know, those guys that are driving on for Sam Schmidt in the front row, Jamie and Travis, they want to show these IndyCar team owners what they can do. And, you know, we've seen where we got an Unser and an Andretti back in the field. And there's a reason they're here, is because they want to show their abilities as they're working their way up the racing ladder.
And all the great open-wheel owners are here. We're talking about the Penske's, the Ganassis, the Andretti's, the Rahal Lettermans, you name them, they are here, as they are going to watch these up-and-coming young drivers and see who the next will offer a chance to drive in the Indy 500. It's the Futaba Freedom 100 underway here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and they go 4 wide at the start.
Yes, look at that. And that red and black car in the front of your screen, that's Wade Cunningham driving for Brian Stewart. He's been quick all week, and what a start that he got from the 5th starting position.
Sailing into turn 1, coming up to speed here, the Futaba Freedom 100 underway for the Menards Infiniti Pro Series cars. 5/8 of a mile down the backstretch. Move on the inside, down on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yes, look at that. Well, I'm not sure. That either was Jeff Simmons or his teammate Herman Quiroga. We'll have to see where this all settles out.
Oh, trouble on the racetrack. One car spins around. That is the 77 of Cole Carter, who had his troubles here at the very start. During the pace lap, he spun around, and this is a first start. This young man had been so impressive in the Pedigo-sponsored machine. He'd been so impressive in practice. He was like wide open in 3 laps on the racetrack. Everyone's saying, wow, what an incredible rookie he is, but having his troubles here, even on the pace lap.
Well, you got to think of maybe what his mindset is. You know, we just saw that he spun in the warm-up, so all of a sudden he went from starting inside the 2nd row to having to start at the back of the field. And mentally, he's thinking, I got to get back up there, and maybe he forced the issue.
You see the car just spinning around backwards and tagging the wall backwards.
Yeah, let's look a little bit. I don't think there's any contact there. I think he's just on the high side of that car and just maybe cold tires a little bit. He had too much front bite in the front of the car, and the rear came around.
All right, that's the car owned by John Jones, who is the owner and the crew chief, the American Revolution Racing Machine. They are attending now to Cole Carter as the yellow comes out here on lap number 2. And let's check in his pits once again with Cameron Steele.
Well, Doc, I'm here near turn 1, and the rain is coming down. Not real hard, but it is consistent. Drops everywhere, so not sure if it was a factor that there was some water out on the track, but anything is possible. Again, rain starting to come down just a little harder here.
All right, there is some weather moving into the area. Obviously, they've been watching that on the radar. And now we are able to see a few drops of moisture there on the onboard camera for Marco Andretti.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I say, right now these drivers want to get racing, and on their visor, we can see there on the in-car camera, they're getting little beads of water, and that's frustrating. I mean, you're learning patience right now.
And they have observers all around the racetrack that keep an eye on the racetrack to make sure that there's not areas of the track that are moist, or else they wouldn't let the cars come up to speed. So they're in contact with the tower with John Lewis and company upstairs in the pagoda. So, well, we are now starting to see some raindrops here in the early laps. We're under yellow for a spin by Cole Carter. The Futaba Freedom 100, top 5, Cunningham, Kamara, Gregg, Drake, and Roth here after 2 of 40 laps are complete. Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Futaba Freedom 100. We're under yellow here. Yellow coming out on lap number 2 after what was a pretty eventful start here when the green flag white. In fact, let's show you what happened as the front row of Jaime Kamara and Travis Gregg. Let them now look as they spread out. Looks like a land rush heading to turn 1.
Yeah, and that inside car in the black and red, that was Wade Cunningham starting from the 3rd row and making a really good run.
He goes from 5th to 1st when he gets to turn 1 and was the leader. Now they go hustling up the back straight. Well, look at Marco Andretti from 10th spot. Yeah, he's going to make a move to the inside.
He's on the inside of Nick Bussell, but he just can't finish the pass, has to tuck him behind him. There's Jeff Simmons looking outside. Now watch his hands as he goes into turn 1 here. There he come back to his hands. Look at him work that wheel, downshift. But now he kind of gets boxed in down low, and a couple guys got to run on the outside.
And here in turn 3 on the second lap, Cole Carter, the impressive third-generation driver. The car gets loose on him, spins around and backs the Pedigo machine into the outside wall. As we are set for the restart, here comes our leader, Wade Cunningham, around to take the green flag.
That's a lot more. That restart's a lot calmer than what we saw at the start of this race a couple laps ago.
Oh, here's a move. Counter on the inside of Cunningham.
Yeah, and look at how high Cunningham is on that racetrack and making it stick up there. So, you know, if he can run that high, we're going to see some great racing. And there, we're back on board with Marco Andretti on the high side off of turn 2. Listen for that throttle. He's got a good run. Let's watch him. He's going to get sucked up there a little bit. That's Al Unser. There's our rivalry. We got Unser on the inside and Andretti looking on the high side. Let's see how it finishes out.
How many years have we seen Unsers and Andretti's battling wheel to wheel here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway? And it again comes to light. Heavy traffic there where Unser and Andretti are. They are being shown back in the 8th, 9th, 10th positions.
Yeah, and it's still, you got to remember, I mean, you have to be aggressive, but don't be patient and make a mistake that you're going to pay for and not do this race. Here we are again. There's Al Unser in the red and black on the left, Marco on the high side. Al's probably going to get boxed in down there. That's Marty Roth in the 4 car right in front of Marco, and sure enough, Marco's got the pass done on just Al.
Andretti goes by Unser, takes a spot away, sets his sights on Marty Roth. In front of them is Jeff Simmons. As you watch this battle developing here.
Yeah, that's John Herb. John Herb, who's our winner from Phoenix, looking on the inside of his teammate of Vision Racing, of Jay Drake.
Jay Drake, of course, the reigning sprint car champion. Here goes Marco Andretti trying to go by Jeff Simmons. Oh, very close.
Very close, and that's off of turn 4. I tell you, you know, you can't question Marco stepping on the gas right now. I mean, he's doing that. And then there's Al up the inside of Jeff Simmons in the red and black car. So we got a lot of action going on for 7 laps into a 40-lap event. These guys aren't wasting time. And that's Jeff Simmons on the high side in that white and red car, backed by Al Unser.
And here's a pretty good battle developing up there. That's the 7 car of Travis Gregg. As he's looking back from his onboard camera, back behind Travis Gregg.
Yeah, and that's Jay Drake. And Jay has been strong all weekend. And talking to Jay, last year, this was his first race here in the Futaba Freedom 100. And last year he qualified 4th, finished 4th, and he was starting 4th here. And he wanted to do more than finish 4th. And that team's only going to get better as this year goes along.
Well, he came in leading the sprint car and midget standings in USAC. He has been very, very busy. 41 total USAC victories with his credit. And here's his week. Sprint cars in Anderson, Futaba Freedom 100 qualified. He runs the race on Friday. Silver Crown at the fairgrounds here tonight in Indianapolis. Midgets at Claremont and sprint car Sunday. Other than that, it's pretty slow for him most of the week.
Yeah, just kick back, get the remote, and put your feet up on the couch. That's a busy schedule.
He drives for Tony Stewart Racing Enterprises, by the way. Tony, the former IRL IndyCar Series champion and now former NASCAR champion as well.
Yeah, this is some great racing. We saw Jay Drake trying to get by Travis Gregg for that 2nd position, but right behind Jay is John Hurt, his teammate, keeping him honest. That's those 4 cars are our leaders right there that just went through our screen.
And we are being told that there has been a car on pit road. Rocky Moran Jr. for more. Let's check in with Vince.
The automatic fire sprinklers machine is having a gearbox problem. They brought him in and initially thought, well, let's try to push him back out in 5th gear, if that gives you any indication of the problem they were having. But when they attempted to do that, they were unsuccessful, and Rocky Moran Jr. is now climbing out of the race car.
His dad ran the Indy 500 3 times. Rocky getting his first start in the Menards Infiniti Pro Series. Hopefully he and the Gary Peterson team will be back with us in a few weeks as well.
Yep, and that is John Herb taking a look down the inside of Jay Drake, his teammate at Vision Racing, and he's got the pass done cleanly. These guys are going to work together, though. You know, that is Travis Gregg up there. They're going to work together to get up to Travis Gregg.
Michael Andretti watching his young son Marco move up that pylon as the laps click away here in the Futaba Freedom 100. We are just about a fourth of the way through here in the Futaba Freedom 100. John Herb trying to make a move to the outside. He is in third spot, falls back in behind Travis Gregg. As you look back from the Lucas Oil onboard camera, the Sam Smith Motorsports machine for Travis Gregg. In that second, third, and fourth on your screen, Jaime Camara, by the way, the Brazilian, still showing the way. He was our pole sitter, and he is pulled away by about 3/10 of a second.
Yeah, and Jamie has been incredibly fast all weekend, so these guys are going to have to work together. The second and third place car, fourth, they're going to have to work together and use the draft to not let Jamie Camara get away. Now, what's interesting is we're looking back at John Herb. What we just saw a little bit ago is we saw John Herb try and go by Travis Gregg on the outside of turn one. He's got a lot of confidence in that race car to think about that move. Here he's looking at the inside of turn one. And is he going to get it done? They're side by side. He's got that pass done. So our Phoenix race winner is showing he's confident and he's got a great race car.
We've seen side-by-side action all around this racetrack. Great Menards Infiniti Pro Series action. And how about a lap ago, watch Marco Andretti and Jeff Simmons, the rookie and the veteran here. Simmons, who finished second here a year ago. They are side-by-side for position. That's the Ken Hartley Racing ISI machine. The Simmons over. Whoa! Very close at 190+ miles per hour.
Yeah, and they're still side by side coming off of turn three, and side by side going through turn four. Oh.
Back side by side up front, we could have a lead change. John Herb moves to the inside. Herb, who has raced in the Indianapolis 500, has run 11 IndyCar Series events with a great finish to his credit. 9th at Texas back in 2001. He becomes our newest leader, the third different driver to lead today here in the first 13 laps at Indianapolis.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say what we've just seen from John Herb in these last couple laps, he's hooked up. He's gone by our leader, Jamie Camara, and keeps going. And it's even put in a position, Wade Cunningham, who's driving for Brian Stewart Racing, he even had a little bit of run at Jamie Camara.
John Herb, we mentioned he won at Texas, finished third at Homestead, had trouble at St. Pete, making only his 7th career start in the Menards Infiniti Pro Series. He led 69 laps at St. Petersburg, driving the Aircon machine set up by Larry Curry.
And there we just saw another pass for lead. That was Jamie going down the inside of John Herb, getting into turn one. These guys are they're beating each other up. This is fun.
This is exactly what Tony George had in mind when he developed this series 4 years ago. Let's find a place for young drivers out of the USAC ranks, out of the road racing ranks to come and run open wheel competition. Let's find a place to develop the future IndyCar stars of tomorrow. That's what you're looking at, folks. People like Jaime Camaro, Wade Cunningham, Travis Gregg, Jay Drake and company, the Unsers and Andretti's. As you watch this paddle up front, here comes John Herb again. Will he retake the lead?
He's going to do it. He's side by side before they get into turn one, and he's got the pass done before they get to turn one. Again, his car. Look at the run the third place car has there on Jamie.
Let's check into John Herb pits once again with Cameron Steele.
Well, John Herb said he really needed to overcome some mechanical gremlins back at St. Pete, having problems with the brakes, actually parts coming apart on him. Here he had a clutch slave go away, but when he got in the race car today, he said, everything is good. I have a car that can go to the front.
Indeed, he has done exactly that, Cameron. As you look at Wade Cunningham, he is all over the back of Jaime Camara.
Yeah, looking inside, looking outside. That's fun.
Well, it looks like some of these guys are trying to put some wheels below the white line. I mean, how often can you do that and get away with it?
Well, you know, they've just resurfaced the Speedway this year, and now you can see guys get below that white line. There's not any rumble strips below that to unsettle the car, so that is something that these guys can do. The one thing you have to be careful is, if it is a little cooler conditions, when you go across that white paint, it can be a little slick. So, you know, you got to feel your way through it. Look at there. There's way down the inside of John Herb, and he's going to get that pass done going into turn three. So now he's back in second place. Jamie Camara has pulled out about, what do you think? That's 10 car lengths. They need to make sure he doesn't check out, because I think by himself he's the fastest car. So they gotta keep Jamie Camara reined in.
All All right, as you watch these cars up front, we'll update you and tell you that Al Unser, the third. Alfred Unser is now up to 4th position. We ride now along with Marco Andretti, going back by Jeff Simmons. That is a battle for 8th spot. They have been swapping this back and forth about every other lap. Great action back in the pack as a 3rd generation Andretti trying to get into the 8th spot. The 3rd generation Unser is 4th, and an impressive Brazilian, Jaime Camara, showing the way right in front of the New Zealander Cunningham. Back with more in just a moment. Action here at Indianapolis and a full evening of events coming your way at 6 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday night. The 48th Indy Power Festival Parade of Celebrities, the Indy 500 Festival Parade coming your way, 7:30 p.m. Ready to race, the 89th Indianapolis 500 preview show. We will talk to Danica Patrick as she prepares to try to go to sleep, if she can sleep, on the eve of this big race. We'll also discuss with the front row what's going to happen in the 89th running of the Indianapolis 500. That's coming your way Saturday night on ESPN2. We are 1 lap away from halfway point, and Jaime Camara is our leader. The last 3 years he was in South America running for a South American Formula 3 team. Now get this, folks, this is where he came from. Amir Nasser is the name of the team. Who were their previous drivers? How about someone named Elio Castroneves? How about someone named Bruno Junqueira? How about Vitor Meira? Or last year's winner in this race, Tiago Medeiros. That's where Jaime Camara came from. You understand why he is so talented.
Yeah, that's a pretty good group to be part of. Absolutely. And, you know, now that he's been here, he's finished on the podium. He finished 2nd in Homestead. He's driving for Sam Schmidt Motorsports that won this championship with Tiago last year. So he's got a good group of guys around him. And his teammates are very good, too. You know, he's got Travis Gregg that's always pushing him out there. And Chris Vesta as well. But right now, he cannot. I'm surprised. Watching the practice, I thought Jaime Camara would be able to kind of run away and pull away from things, but Wade Cunningham is right there.
Wade Cunningham, the 20-year-old rookie from Auckland, New Zealand, comes here. And IndyCar people know a little bit about New Zealanders, don't they, Cameron?
Well, they definitely do. You're looking at Ron Dixon right here. He was the one that brought Scott over back in 2000, and now you brought Wade Cunningham over. Quite an impressive driver. How did you find him?
Basically just watching Wade in karts in New Zealand, and then when he won the World Go-Kart Championship, just following his career and watching him in the Formula Toyota series back in New Zealand.
It looked like you guys were jumping around quite a bit when he made that move for the lead. Was that surprising to you a little bit right out of the gate?
Well, initially this year he hasn't been really fast coming at the start, but that was an awesome start. It was really great.
So far, a great race for Wade. I will tell you that most of the drivers in the pits say he is one of the most aggressive drivers on the track.
By the way, when Cunningham came here to Indianapolis, he was a roommate. He actually roomed with Scott Dixon, the 2003 IndyCar Series champion. I think Scott allowed him to come over and stay at the house a little bit. Now, how about the 3rd generation Unser? Steadily making his move, just like his dad, Al Jr. did, or just like his grandfather, Al Unser Sr., who won here 4 times in the Indy 500.
Yep, we're at the halfway mark of this race, and he's just kind of picking his way to the front. So let's see where this all settles down with about 5 laps to go.
When I asked his dad, Al Unser Jr., I said, how do you compare his driving style to you or your father? He said he's more like his grandfather. He is a perfectionist. He will put the car where sometimes you think it could go, like he did right there,
yeah.
But he makes it work.
Look at that, and they're still racing side by side through turn 2. Al's going to end up passing John Herb here and taking over that position.
As there goes Unser, the 3 car, continuing to make a move toward the top 3 as we check in the Unser pits with Jamie Little.
Well, guys, just Al's grandfather, Al Unser Sr., has won the 500 4 times. So I said, what advice did you give your grandson? He said, just be smart, go out there, finish the race, good luck. And I said, where are you going to be watching it from? He said, I'm going right across the track there, and I'm sitting in the stands, and I'm going to watch this. You could tell he was nervous. It's the first time seeing his grandson run here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Oh, and he's going to be loving this, Jamie, because this young man is moving in, the 22-year-old Unser. We saw the Andretti do it back at St. Pete. Can an Unser do it here? Here's our race leader, Jaime Camara. He's had 15 laps. There have been 3 leaders and 7 lead changes here with 17 laps to go. We had one yellow coming out on lap number 2 for 3 laps, and the spin by Cole Carter off in turn 3.
Yeah, and here, now this is our battle for first place, and in the second place car there, driving for Brian Stewart Racing, is Wade Cunningham, the 2003 go-kart champion. We just heard from Scott Dixon's dad in terms of how he found Wade, and it was from all his go-kart racing. These guys look like they've settled into a little bit of a rhythm. They're not beating each other up. They've pulled away from that third place car. So maybe what's going through their heads is let's not slow each other up. Let's keep running, and then during the last couple laps, that's when we're going to see which one of these guys is going to be better.
Okay, just a lap ago, a moment for Wade Cunningham in turn 2. Whoa, the car's starting to slip a little bit for the New Zealander.
Yeah, and that's not a little whoa. That's a big whoa here at Indianapolis. And, you know, just when I was saying these guys are settling into a little bit of pace and buying their time, we see Wade just have a big moment.
Well, Camara and Cunningham, the Killer C's, are 1-2. But they better not look in the mirror, because it's an Unser on his way toward the front. Alfred Unser, Al Unser the third, the oldest son of Shelley and Al Jr. And an Andretti trying to get there. He currently sits in 8th spot. Back with more in just a moment.
Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Menards Infiniti Pro Series, highlighting today's Carb Day festivities with Michael Andretti, his son Marco, 18 years old, running in 8th. What have been your impressions so far?
Well, he's doing his job. The car's just not fast. We just didn't do a very good job for him, unfortunately. The team let him down a little bit, but he's driving the wheels off of it, so that's all we can ask.
He talked earlier when I spoke with him before the race just about the challenge that this presents. He's never been in a race this big before, and certainly not on an oval of this size. What can he learn from this and take from this experience?
Oh, there's a million things, you know. He's soaking it up every lap right now. His mind is a sponge. You know, I think it's going to be very valuable for him. You know, that's what this series is all about, getting that sort of experience. And like I said, he's learning a lot right now.
Thanks, Michael. Doc?
Michael Andretti, 14 times here at the Indy 500. Hard to believe as many laps as he led here, he never won this race. And but he could possibly get it this year as an owner. He's got 4 strong horses in this year's Indy 500.
Yeah. And when he said, you know, Marco's driving his heart out, we know he is. We were on board that race car at the beginning of this race, and we saw how hard he's working, and there we are back on it. I mean, working the wheel, and I think we're looking at in front of him is Jeff Simmons, and these guys have had the battle galore so far.
They are in 8th and 9th. Marco Andretti currently being shown in the 9th position. Let's check into the Unser pits with Cameron Steele.
Well, an interesting story here. Al Unser is running with a penny inside of his race suit that he found in the infield. Heads up, the year 1994, the year his dad last won here in Indianapolis, and coincidentally, that same year when he won, he had a penny taped inside of his car. So we'll see if the penny pays off today for Al Unser.
These drivers very, very superstitious as you watch Al Unser. He says the first time he came in the garage, his dad, when he was a little boy, tucked him inside a Simpson racing bag and snuck him in the garage area so you could actually see Gasoline Alley from the inside. And now he gets to walk in with helmet in hand as a competitor here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Great side-by-side action there behind Unser.
Yeah, and that is as the teammates of Jay Drake and John Herb. And, you know, with those guys going side by side around this racetrack, they're letting Al get away a little bit.
They are battling for 4th position. As you see the 20 car, that is Drake now getting the advantage. The USAC superstar drives for Tony Stewart on weekends. Currently leading the USAC Midget and Silver Crown points. I mentioned he'll be at the fairgrounds in Indianapolis tonight in a Silver Crown car.
Yeah, and you know, like I said, Jay Drake's first race in the Menards Infiniti Pro Series was a year ago in this track and this race. And at that time, that was his first time that he really had been in a rear engine Formula car with wings on it like this. And as this year goes along, we're only 4 races into the Pro Series schedule this year. I'm looking for Jay Drake to be in that top 5 and challenging for the lead most of the races.
Yeah, Jay began the year with an impressive 5th place finish at Homestead, Miami on a track he had never seen before. Again, that is Unser in the 3 car. Here goes Jay Drake on the inside of Unser to take the 3rd spot away.
Yep. And what you saw there is Jay Drake all of a sudden popped out just at the last minute behind Al Unser in the red and black car. So he's using that draft and was sucking along, and at the last minute, right as they went into turn one, boom, he carried that momentum and poked in the inside. And I think we'll probably see Al Unser do that same thing back to him.
Jay Drake in third, Unser is fourth, John Herb is fifth. As Marty Rault, Travis Gregg, Jeff Simmons, Coroga, and Marco Andretti. That's the top 10 here, with 10 laps to go at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It is the third annual Futaba Freedom 100. Stop number 4 of 14 on the Menards Infiniti Pro Series Tour for 2005. The impressive Brazilian Jaime Camara driving the Selg Sam Smith Motorsports effort. He set on the pole at almost 190 miles per hour with a brand new track record, eclipsing the mark set by Tiago Medeiros a year ago. Camara is the leader. Cunningham is second. Drake is third. Unser fourth. And John Herb is fifth. And 18-year-old Marco Andretti driving the Vonage, trying to make a move up in the top 7 or 8 here with less than 10 to go. Back with the finish in just a moment. Back in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway here as action as the laps are winding down here in the Futaba Freedom 100, along with Robbie Buell, Jamie Little, Vince Welch, and Cameron Steele. I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us as the final laps begin to click away here for the Menards Infiniti Pro Series cars.
Yeah, and I think, you know, right now, I'd have to say the guy in the catbird seat is Wayne Cunningham in the black and red. Oh, it looks like we got a spin. We're going to ID that car for you. That's John Herb. Didn't make any contact, so if he's kept that motor running, he can get back to the tail of this.
And Herb was the fourth place car, the number 6 car, the Aircon machine, as the yellow flag now waves. And that will bring out the yellow for the second time today. Herb had that great run to take the lead early on. He was one of our leaders today. And that is the Racing Professionals effort that Larry Curry set up, and the car just looped around on it.
Yeah, I mean, the guys that are liking this is you have Jay Drake that's going to be in the 3rd spot, and you're going to have Al Unser in the 4th spot. And now they're going to group up with the leaders. Okay, there he's spinning, doing a full 360, and stayed off the outside part of that wall. Wow.
A little bit reminiscent of the Danny Sullivan 20 years ago here, the 85 spin and win. I wonder if this...
Okay, here we're on board with Travis Gregg looking ahead. There's the smoke. How about having to get through that? So that is off of turn 1 that John Herb had that spin. It just looked like the car was a little bit loose. You know, the front just bit and the rear came around.
All right, you see here the slowing car now
I think it's John. That should be John, probably.
Yeah, that's John Herb.
Yeah.
Let's check in the Sam Smith pits here with Jamie Little.
Well, Dr. Punch, you know as well as I do, this is one of the hardest working men in Indianapolis this month. Sam Schmidt, he has 1 car fielded with Richie Hearn in the Indianapolis 500 and 4 cars today in the Menards Infiniti Pro Series. And once again, your number 1 car is out there leading. The best we've seen by Jaime Camara. What's the difference today?
Well, there's any time to peak, it's today. This is a pretty important race and pretty large crowd out here today. He's just doing a good job. He's been fast ever since we tested here May 3rd, and the crew's giving him a really good car today. I'm just hoping we can stay in front for the next 5 laps.
How about your other driver, Travis Gregg? He started second. He's the current series points leader. What's happened to him? He slipped back a little bit.
Yeah, just unfortunately, I think they missed it a little bit. He's had understeer from the start and been fighting it a little bit, but hopefully he can pick up his spot on the restart. Chris has been coming on strong too. He's come all the way from 17th to 8th, so he's probably got the best car out there right now.
How do you know where to split your time and who to watch and who to listen to?
I got a scanner going, and I'm trying to juggle everything they're saying right now, and you know, just watch the screen and try and keep up with everybody.
You're doing a great job. See if he can hold it to the end. That's the number 1 car of Jaime Camara. Vince?
Larry Curry just came on the radio. He's the one that sets up the car for that man, Jay Drake, in Vision Racing. And with 6 laps to go, Drake is currently running 3rd. Curry came on the radio and said, this is the race right here, speaking of the restart. So he believes that Jay Drake, if he's going to win it, he's got to make a move on the restart when we finally take the green.
Well, Jay Drake should be pretty good at restarts. He's a short track ace. Great crowd on hand. Sunny skies now prevail in Indianapolis. The 5-lap shootout when we come back in just a moment. Back at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Futaba Freedom 100. We are under yellow for the second time. And the final 5 laps. And Jaime Camara, Wade Cunningham, Jay Drake, Al Unser, and Marty Roth, the top 5. And I'm going to ask my expert here, Robbie Buell. Robbie, who has the advantage here on the restart? I mean, who do you think of that group has the experience to get it done here, getting quickly up toward the front?
You're putting me on the spot, huh?
Well, squarely on the spot.
Oh, boy. When John Herb spun and that brought out that yellow, I mean, the one thing that did is that brought Jay Drake and Al Unser right behind the first and second place cars. So all these guys are capable of doing it. They've all showed they can run well on the high side. They're not afraid to put their nose anywhere. And you got to remember this, as we just heard from Sam Schmidt, this is the time for these guys to do it. So I'm going to say we could have any of them do it.
All right. Let's check in the Jaime Camara pit.
Thank you.
Camera.
Well, the pits here, Jaime's crew is telling him, watch out for Wade Cunningham. He may be going for the jump on the restart. If he does jump you, they're telling him, get him right back on the north end of the track at 3 and 4 because you are stronger there, but beware of the youngster.
All right, the Brazilian's a leader, 33, Cunningham from New Zealand, and behind him a USAC ace by the name of Jay Drake, who has won 4 USAC titles. We'll see what can happen on the restart here. 4 laps to go as they come down and prepare next time by to take the green flag.
Yeah, and you know who really is going to be sitting in a good position here, I think, is going to be Al Unser in that 4th position, because Wade's going to be doing everything he can to get the lead from Jamie, and Jay Drake's going to be in the same mindset, and those guys may block each other or have somebody all of a sudden get out of the throttle, and if Al times that right, he may just have that roll of momentum to take a couple of them, but we'll just have to see how it plays out.
Al Unser ran 8 times last year, finished 3rd 5 times. His best finish was 3rd. He did it 5 times. He said yesterday, I want to finish anywhere but 3rd. Guess where, folks? He's 4th right now, and if he can make a move on the start, he may finish 3rd or better. Here we go. Final laps at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Futaba Freedom 100 and Jaime Camara. Cars spinning in the back out of turn 4. It's Andretti. Simmons is back there. Bustle spins. Marco gets it backed away on the apron.
Yeah, and Marco's car's rolling. He's going through the gearbox, we can see there, so I don't think his car's damaged. Also, who we had spinning there was Herman Quiroga was part of that, who's driving for Ken Hardley Racing. So we'll have to go back and see what brought that all on.
That's Nick Bustle, the 21 car. That's the JL West Motorsports machine for Bustle, a 22-year-old former road racing ace, as they will try to get his car refired. Top of your screen, there's the Vonage machine for Marco Andretti getting refired. Here, we'll see if we can see what happened on the restart.
Okay, we're on board with Marco. Okay, and that was Herman Quiroga right there. And what he did is, it looked like he got the left side of his car down on the grass, below that white line, and even on the grass, and lost it out. Here we go, let's look down. Can we see? Keep watching. Yeah, you can't see it as well from there. But, Marco just had a spin in avoidance there. He didn't make contact. He's back and going. And I also think with Nick Bustle, he didn't have contact anywhere. So both those guys are going to be back in the show here. They may have some flat-spotted tires. Here's a quick. And yes, that is Herman Quiroga, who this is his first race, driving for Ken Hardley, just got too low.
Now let's see what a great job this young man did to avoid the spinning car of Herman Quiroga, the Mexico City, Mexico driver.
Green, Marco, green flag.
Okay, you hear him telling him green flag. He's flat on the throttle, changes gears, and there comes a spinning car.
Yeah, and he actually, now that I look at that time, his left side wasn't down on the grass, but we saw where Marco went from probably 3rd gear to 4th gear. The car in front of him, Herman, probably did that. When he made that upshift is probably when his car got loose. That's what I'm kind of guessing on that.
All right, there's Mario and Michael Andretti down in the pits as they're trying to discuss and see if there was any damage to Marco's car. There's a look at the legendary Formula One world champion and Indy 500 winner Mario Andretti. This is Michael.
Yeah, and when I talked earlier about, I mean, the one thing that Marco may have or Nick may have from spinning to avoid that incident, you talk about flat spotted tires, is just that. You get a flat spot on a round tire, so unfortunately when you go around the racetrack it makes a thumping noise and it creates a lot of vibration. And here we're on board with Marco, who's coming down pit lane probably for just that reason, to change tires.
Tony Sicali and company there looking at Marco's car, and there's Mario standing by. Let's head down to their pits.
Mario Andretti standing here, keeping an eye on his grandson Marco, and I know you don't want to see him here in the pit lane, but he did a nice job avoiding that incident in front of him. Did you catch a look at that?
Well, yeah, he just spun so he wouldn't get into it. Well, you know, he's learning, I guess. It was a tough day for him. I don't think we gave him the car that he deserved. The car was just down on the leader 5 miles an hour from qualifying. It just started that way and ended up that way.
It's a good experience for him, though, this opportunity to come here, run at a track this big and at an event this big. His first race on an oval of this nature, so you got to keep it all in perspective. Is that something that's maybe difficult for him to do because he's in that driver's seat?
Well, it's difficult. It's not so much that he could make a difference here. It's just that the car is like 95% of the trick here. So, you know, we never gave him a chance to really mix it up at the top. But still, as you said, it's an experience. So there's the positive.
Disappointment, nothing new for the Andrettis at Indianapolis as Marco begins to climb from his car.
All right, so Marco Andretti, not like he wanted. Let's see if we come by. We may possibly have the green and white flag next time by, which means it'll be a one-lap shootout here. Can Camara hold off Cunningham? What about Jay Drake and Unser? All right, they're going to restart in turn 3.
Wow, so what's happening here is, watch these guys. They're going to accelerate now. They're going to have a green flag. They're racing. They're going to go through turn 3 and turn 4, and then they're going to see the checkered.
Wow, this is going to be a sprint to the start-finish line. Let's see what happens. Here they come, the Brazilian Camara up to speed. There's Cunningham behind him. Jay Drake is there. Here comes little Unser back there.
Yeah, in the third spot, let alone. Get him, Al.
Checkered flag waves, and the winner of that race is Jaime Camara, as they gave him the green and the checkered flag. It was a sprint out of turn 3, and the Brazilian Jaime Camara from the pole becomes a first-time winner in Menards Infiniti Pro Series. And for the 3rd consecutive year, the pole sitter here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway becomes the winner of the Futaba Freedom 100.
Yeah, that made for an exciting ending, didn't it? With Wade Cunningham finishing second, he's had a great weekend. And Al Unser now, how many second places has he had? Excuse me, third place finishes?
Well, make that 6 third place finishes for Al Unser. He said, let me finish anywhere but third, and guess where he finished today? A tough break for that young man, Marco Andretti. We'll come back and talk to the winners and top drivers in just a moment. Jaime Camara, who is the winner here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and he's so inexperienced here in oval track racing, he's having a hard time figuring out how to do donuts.
He sure is. I don't think he's really worried about that right now. He just won the biggest race of his career today.
When you grow up in open wheel racing, or you think about going to open wheel racing, and there's a little chunk of the I think some of the concrete took off. He bounced off with his last donut effort. Let's see the replay on this donut exchange here. Spins around. Whoa!
Ow!
Took the paint off the wall.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, you know, to practice your donuts, I don't think your crew chiefs like you to go practice your donuts. So you got to keep winning, Jamie, and keep working on doing those donuts.
Well, this driver had a pretty good start and had a pretty eventful day here, but it didn't end like he wanted it to. He's down there with Vince.
Well, the 16th place finish, not indicative of the kind of day you had, because you were running right there in the middle of the pack, Marco, but I know ultimately not the way you wanted it to finish. Your dad said the car wasn't very good. What in fact was the problem?
Loose, big time loose. I couldn't put any steering input in. By myself, I was barely flat, let alone in traffic. I was getting out of it big time. And you should be near flat, if not flat, in traffic. So
You told me before the race that you were feeling the nerves a little bit. How long did it take you to calm down and just get into the groove?
Till the motor started. It was fine. I was fine as soon as we started the motors.
Hope to see you back here soon.
Yeah, thanks.
Marco Andretti, 18 years old, making his Indianapolis debut today.
And on June 5th, he will graduate from Notre Dame High School in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. He will run Milwaukee, be back here at Indianapolis on the week of the U.S. Grand Prix. Infiniti and Watkins Glen, some more from the third generation Andretti. We'll head to victory lane when we come back in a moment. Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where the Futaba Freedom 100 is history. And for the third consecutive year, the pole sitter scoots away and takes the victory here in this event here for the Menards Infiniti Pro Series. Let's head down to victory lane where Cameron Steele is standing by.
Oh, there you have it right there. Jaime Camara coming out of the car victorious. The second year in a row, Brazilian tops the Futaba Freedom 100. Very excited. Jaime, a great day for you, a great day for Brazilian racing. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, man, we started really good here, man. Since the beginning of the practice on Thursday, we were very fast. The race was really hard. My car was pushing a little, but I had the best car there, man. That's why I'm here. I won the thing.
The fastest in the test, fastest in all three practices. Tell us about on the first start, Wade Cunningham jumping inside of you. Were you surprised?
Yeah, I was surprised. I didn't expect that. Wade's a very good driver, so it happens, man. I didn't start good, but I could pass him and win the race, man.
Very excited here. We're going to send it over to Vince Welch.
Thank you very much. Standing by with Wade Cunningham, who finished second in the race. He's just finishing up an interview with international television, and we'll get his comments and his thoughts on the second place run here in just a moment. What an outstanding effort. Almost had a shot at Jaime there in the first laps. And let's see if we can.
Start of the race, I just wanted to pull up beside him, let him know I was there. You know, I was never actually going to go around him into one. I was always trying to set it up to pass him down into three, but it just never panned out, and that's how the race went today.
You could have had it if it had not gone yellow at the end?
I'd like to say I would have tried, and you know, we were well clear of third place, so you know, I had time to set up a move for a couple of laps and run my own line, because I didn't have any pressure from behind because we had just pulled such a gap, and so it's a little disappointing, but you know, I'm pretty sure we're in the lead of the championship now, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Wade Cunningham, solid effort today with the second place finish. One more question there, Wade. Kind of the end, it was a little bit of a tricky finish with about a half a lap there before the green and the checkered flew. Do you feel like maybe if you had had a full lap, you'd have had a better run at him?
No, if we had a full lap, it would have been a better run, but saying that, you know, there was a pack of cars behind me, and the pack generally goes quicker than the one in front, so, you know, sort of like a double-edged sword. If there had been a full lap, you know, I might have lost a couple of positions and not had the opportunity to get them back. You know, so second's all right, and we'll keep going from here.
How about the opportunity to run in this event at this facility and the experience it provides you?
I think it's good. You know, there's a ton of fans out here today, and we're going to be around for the whole weekend. You know, the Futaba 100 Freedom race, you know, I think it's probably the biggest of the year on a standalone point, but it's just another race in our championship, so we've got another 10 races to go, so I'm looking forward to that.
Good luck, Wade.
Thanks a lot.
Wade Cunningham. Doc?
All right, thank you very much, Vince. Let's take a look at our full field rundown here. Jaime Camara becomes a first-time winner at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The New Zealander, Wade Cunningham, gave it a gallant effort. Al Unser, the third for the sixth time in his career, finishes third. Jay Drake, the USAC Sprint Car champion, in fourth, where he finished a year ago. Marty Roth, who will run for the Indy 500, is fifth. Travis Gregg is sixth. Jeff Simmons is seventh. Take a look at the next seven. In line in their finishing order: Chris Festa, Taylor Fletcher, Herman Quiroga, Michelle Abbott, Tom Wood, John Herb, and the first driver ever from the country of India to race professionally in the United States, Imran Hussain, finishing one lap down in 14th position. Let's hear from the third place finisher. He's standing by with Jamie Little.
Well, Indianapolis Motor Speedway is quite the special place for the Unser name. 6 Indy 500 wins between your dad and your grandfather. You finally had your first opportunity to race here. What was it like?
Oh, it was great. You know, we couldn't bring her home for a win, but we got a nice 2-3 for my team owner. Happy birthday to Brian Stewart Racing. And, you know, it was great. There's definitely a good connection here for me.
Connection? You have the only female mechanic here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. How awesome is Tina Larson?
Oh, it's great. She's great. I mean, she does everything, and she likes bananas in the morning.
And she keeps good care of your car, bringing home another third place finish.
My car good.
Congratulations. We have another Al Unser in the field. He finishes third. Dr. Punch?
All right, thank you very much, Jamie. And of course, it's all about following in your footsteps. She's following in her footsteps of her father, Mo Larson, the longtime open wheel mechanic who's been around for decades here. Take a look at our updated point standings. After 4 events of 14, Wade Cunningham will take over the points lead. Travis Gregg in second spot, just 9 points back. Jaime Camaro and John Herb. Al Unser now with that 5th place finish in his career will be in the top 5 in the points as we get set to head to Texas Motor Speedway for our next event. By the way, the next time the Menards Infiniti Pro Series cars will compete will be at Texas Motor Speedway on Thursday, June 16th, 3 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. It's all about learning to drive open wheel cars, and they come here once a year to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway oval track. And today, it was all about third-generation drivers following in famous father's footsteps. But it was a young Brazilian who had finished on top of the heap. Congratulations to Jaime Camara. He's a winner at Indianapolis.